so I can get that chapter of the channel closed, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But October, it's going to be fun. I'm going down in October. I'm flying down actually. My mom had a bunch of Southwest points, so she's like, "I'll buy the flight." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
Sweet.
So in October, I'm going down to a open house for Haas Automation that makes like the CNC machines in Oxnard. I've been to the open house before, but this is the first time going as like make it with Calvin, dude. So I'm like wondering like if I'm gonna run into anybody that I know down there and be like, "Hey yo, I'm that guy."
That'd be cool.
That'd be fun. And the other thing is I'm gonna bring. I got to remember to work on them shortly though, so I don't run out of time. Is a bunch of those the Insta Machinist hashtag that I made for Instagram for the machining stuff. I'm gonna be bringing a bunch of those brass things down. So for like running to people that I know or like people who like know about it, I can be like, here, my token of appreciation for using my hashtag that I came up with late at night that I thought nobody would use.
But by the way, we're live.
Yeah, I know. I can see the little live thingy, Jimmy. I just continued bragging about how great my life is, you know.
Someday I'm going to click it when you're not going to know it.
And then, oh shoot!
Hey Rick, how you doing? Thank you for joining.
What's up, Rick?
How many we got in the stream?
4, probably including us.
Yeah, so there's 2.
So sad.
That's all right. We've
okay.
kind of messed up our schedule this week, but
yeah, honestly, the earlier time works better for me if it works better for you.
Works better for us, but it works worse when it comes to our European viewers because they're not even out of bed yet.
Yeah, but the problem is I was getting to bed at like 1 in the morning, you know. So,
yeah.
Well,
plus, I still have a video I got to edit tonight, too. I was started on it last night, and I just gave up. For some reason, I can't get my S7 to let me pull the video off of it. Whenever I plug the cord into it, it will not detect the photos and videos and stuff on it for some reason.
Huh, maybe you need a new cord.
What's that?
Maybe you need a new cord.
That could be, too. It could be just a bad cord.
That's usually what happens is some wire breaks inside or something, and then it can't access the data pen or trip the data pen or who knows what, and then it just doesn't work.
Yeah, true.
That's my guess. Well, do we want to get the show started?
Yeah, might as well. What's the topic?
Right. Well, because Jimmy can't think of any topics. I'm just kidding. He just likes dumping the job on me. No,
I'll let you run out of ideas first. Once you run out of ideas, I'll come up.
Okay, fine. Now, this week's episode has 3D printing hit its peak of innovation? And we're going to be taking this from the vantage point of hobby 3D printing. Obviously, commercial 3D printing, I believe, is always going to be some step ahead of hobby 3D printing. But the real question is, has hobby 3D printing, based off the things that we have seen, hit its eventual goal? Yes, things might get better in the future, but it's not like it's going to be earth-shattering, groundbreaking stuff unless companies can literally come up with a way to, and I'm starting to see it, but it's still very rare, like auto-sense filament out, auto-sense a jam, and, you know, take corrective action if the power goes out. We're starting to finally see that coming in, but I'm surprised it's actually taken as long as it has to get to that point, considering that filament out sensing is very simple. It's just a micro switch. Jam detection is a little bit trickier, but that, I mean, encoder wheels have been around forever, so it's pretty easy to, you know, just set up a simple system that detects if there's a repeated number of skippings on an axis or something like that, especially the extruder. And then the last one was power detection. We talked about a little bit in another stream with either an ultra capacitor on board or UPS on board or something that can detect the power going out and either home the machine or just lower the head and retract the filament before the power runs out, something like that. So, I mean, I constantly hear people going, oh yeah, we're going to eventually be able to print clothing, or we're going to print circuits, and I'm just like, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm perfectly honest. I mean, it might happen 50 years from now, but I don't see us being able to print ourselves a smartphone that we just slap together at home. I just don't see that happening for a bajillion different reasons. You know, partly trademark slash patent issues slash, you know, production costs slash safety. You get the gist.
Well, yeah, I mean, unless you're able to take and pour molten metal and extrude it to make the traces and everything for a circuit board, there's no logical way that's going to ever pan out. I mean, anything that's got any kind of a plastic base to it, the plastic's not going to be conductive enough to carry the current. I mean, you can add different materials to the plastic, you know, aluminum or whatever that way, and might be able to get it where it's somewhat conductive, but it'll never be able to carry a complete current.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't messed with it, but I want to. Some special silver based conductive paint, but even that has got a pretty high resistance per inch, and it has to be laid in a continuous line. It's really expensive stuff as well. You know, there's just like no easy way to do it. I mean, it's all well and good that people are trying to push the innovation, but I kind of get frustrated when it seems like all everybody's talking about is just unrealistic crap, and it's just like, that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. And then you got to try and explain that to people why it can't happen, and they start getting all cranky about it, and it's just like, I have more manufacturing experience than you do. You might want to listen.
I like what Chris says. Chris says, mine, the Datsun is mine. He says nickel paint is better than silver.
That would kind of make sense because nickel's less likely to corrode and all that stuff. That's good to know. Yes, I might actually just for your sake, Chris, when I go down and see my parents again in October, I might just have to see if my dad can do a quickie video for the extras channel about the Datsun just to get you guys all appeased about it.
Hey, Rick says cost. That is what is going to make or break hobby printing. That is exactly the truth. Until it gets down to where the masses can afford it, that's what's going to really limit 3D printing for the hobbyist. And this deal of, every household is going to have a 3D printer. That's a ways off until they get down to the price of a toaster. And even that, how many people's got toasters anymore?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the big thing is, in my opinion, I kind of feel like some of the things that are limiting hobby printing is, one, it's reliable, but you have to know what you're doing to make it reliable. I mean, look at a 2D paper printer or a copy machine. Those things have been around since who knows how long, before I was born, and they still have jams, and they still break down, and they still have issues. And that's just spitting ink on paper. You know, it's very basic compared to a 3D printer where you're heating up plastic and and you get what I mean.
Yeah. I see we got Ripcord in. Thank you very much for joining Ripcord.
What's up, Ripcord?
So Chris says Datsun video. Make sure it shows the street address so he knows where to pick it up.
Yeah, I'll make sure to blur that out really good. Yes, Ripcord, we are talking about the Datsun again. I swear, everybody has this unhealthy obsession with the thing.
And Chris has also got buttered popcorn and brownies.
Are they magic brownies, Chris? Maybe that's so. Why. Did you go down to that?
We all need magic brownies.
Hey, Chris, if they're magic brownie, feel free to send me and Jimmy some. We could probably use them. Oh my gosh, we got Daniel Niori in here. Dude, the European people are up already.
Oh! Daniel, we're not worthy. I finally did it, Daniel. I finally did it.
He feels like such a proud parent because he finally made himself a 3D Benchy on the machine. I'm so proud of you, Jimmy. You did such a good job. Pat yourself on the back again.
Oh, it hurts too much when I try it.
Here, I'll do it for you. Pat.
Yeah. Oh, we got King Random in the house. How you doing?
King Random, you just turned into the randomness that is the Calvin and Jimmy show. Haven't you learned by now? That's like all our show is like 30 seconds of us talking about the topic, and the rest of us is going, oh, hey, look who's in chat. Oh, look who's talking about the Datsun again. No,
I
you
was,
can't have Datsun.
I was texting with Curtis earlier, and I'm like, "Hey, you know how it works. We're going to have this for a topic." I said, and then I'll say squirrel.
We should all take bets on how long um, it is before you say squirrel, and then the winner gets to be the guest star next week, and then they get to say squirrel at some random point and just kill the stream.
Ripcord, can you smell what the Chris is cooking? To the millions and millions.
So King Random made a good point. He goes, my 3D printer is driving me bonkers. Tried to go dual extruder, and now nothing will print. Yeah, that's one of the things that a little bit ties into has 3D printing hit its peak of innovation is I seriously thought that dual extrusion was going to be easier than people said it was. And after messing with it a little bit, I can sort of understand why it's tricky, but at the same time, it's like even the Prusa multi-material thing sounds kind of buggy, you know.
Well, especially when you've got to take and make a block in order for it to extrude all the material of one color out before it switches to another color. And then it has to, once that does that little bit of color, then it's got to go back and get rid of that color. Now, with that said, Curtis sent me a link to something I never knew existed. And I guess it's coming out soon. And XYZ Printing has come out with a 3D printer that uses an inkjet to color the filament as it's being extruded. I'm guessing
I think I
before it
saw
enters the
that.
extruder.
That is interesting.
I'll see if I can find it real quick.
Sounds good.
Go ahead and take it away,
Yeah.
man.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess the other thing I will say is it's kind of like I look at machines like the Ultimaker 3 that has the retracting heads and stuff, and that's really cool. But I do wonder what is the lifespan of the mechanics inside that thing to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's my only concern is obviously if you're having to switch all the time, that's going to put a lot of wear and tear on that thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea by any means, and I'm not saying the Ultimaker doesn't test things, but I think it's one of those cases of it's going to be really interesting to see how long that mechanism and the cartridges and everything can last from a mechanical standpoint, not, that sort of stuff.
Right.
So, although I will say the mixing is interesting, but something that Prusa mentioned and something that I've always not liked about it is say you were printing, different materials, they might not be compatible. Do you run into issues with leftover bits in the nozzle becoming an issue? Let's say you are doing, I don't know if it works or not, so this is hypothetical. Let's say you are doing, say, PETG with, PVA supports, and there's a little bit of PVA that's left inside the nozzle. So when you go to do the PETG, it starts cooking inside the nozzle. You kind of get where I'm going. I'm talking like a really stupid scenario here, but you get what I mean.
Right. I just found the page. I just brought it up. I guess whenever I talk, it probably comes up. But it's the DaVinci Color 3D Creativity printer, and it's got a inkjet set up to it. So it'll actually print on this color soluble 3D filament. Now here you can see it's got this print head, so it's got the different colors to it. And I'm not for sure, but I'm guessing that it colors the filament. It's called a CPLA, color PLA. So it absorbs the colorant. And they got different, this little mask thing here. That's a pretty interesting setup right there. But it's a pre-order. Should I see how much it costs?
Sure, why the heck not? Chris made a hilarious but true comment. He goes, it's a mini polyjet, which is true. That's a lot of the printing that I get done is polyjet, which is a similar concept, only it's literally spitting out droplets of ink. Then he made a hilariously but true comment as well. Curious how many patents it infringes.
$3,000 pre-order.
Oh, man. I think I'm good. I think I'll stick with a resin printer.
I can buy a lot of paint for that much.
You could probably buy a whole bunch of filler primer, fly Chelsea from Chaos Cortec out and pay her to sand and paint a bunch of models and send her back home with some spending money to boot.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very cool concept for what it is, but $3,000, I don't know. I don't know.
I went ahead and I put the link in the chat so everybody can take a look at it at their leisure.
Ripcord says, yeah, the finish of the paint looks a bit cheap to me, like it would scratch off. Yeah, that is a concern. Although I will say it would be interesting if they sprayed the ink onto hot. Well, here's the other thing. Have you ever tried like writing on a 3D print with a Sharpie? You know how the ink bleeds like into the crevices? I wonder how they get around that, because that's obviously a big pain in the butt.
Well, somebody, I forget who it was that took filament and they took like not a Sharpie. Well, yeah, I guess it was a Sharpie where they changed the color of it by just having where just before the extruder it was coloring it.
Well, the problem you come up with that is eventually you're going to start to get, I would think, ink building up in the nozzle, so your colors might not be consistent. That's why when they do printing, like newspapers and stuff, they roll each color out on its own set of rollers, and they give the ink enough time to dry in between so it doesn't mix.
Right.
You know. Chris says they claim 60 millimeters a second. Yeah. What kind of quality do you get? And then Rick made an interesting comment. What about an RGB mixing extruder for color prints? They do actually make those. I have seen people who have done successful prints with them, but you do run into that issue that we were just talking about with the colors eventually getting kind of muddled inside the head. Plus, you have 3 different hot ends that you got to try and prevent clogging. You got to prevent them from oozing. I have seen it done, but the quality is nothing that I would consider super spectacular. I actually put it on par with, or actually below par with those sandstone prints where they take plaster dust and then they spray it with binder and ink and repeat and repeat. It's the color depth and quality of that is not going to be perfect. You can't do like a really crazy nice colored print, but at the same time, those do a better job than the RGB mixing heads, which, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's not a cool idea. It's just, it's not that simple. It's almost like you literally need 3 different heads with 3 different colors with really tiny nozzles, and maybe a 4th head that prints like the actual filament, and then this little head comes along, almost like a dot matrix printer, and just lays down little dots of filament in all the spots that's needed. But then that just becomes ridiculous. You know, you've got how many retractions, and you're almost better off just like hydro dipping the stupid thing or just sending it out for polyjet printing at that point, you know, because that can do multicolor printing if it's set up with the right resins. Obviously, that can get expensive, but if what you specialize in is doing that, you can do that, you know.
Let's see, we have Keith in the chat. How you doing, Keith?
That Keith, I'm going to grab something to drink really fast.
Okay.
Almost took my light out.
Just don't fall or we'll catch you on camera.
No, I can't show my dad that stream because he'd freak out because the camera went flying and then probably hit my laptop too. And I don't need my crappy night to get any crappier.
Yeah, with me, when it comes to the hobby 3D printing end of it, the reliability has got to really improve on all the way across the board. What in the world are you doing now?
I just remembered I had my party hat down here, so I might as well throw it on for extra flair.
You hayseed.
Yes, I am down in the garage right now, if you guys can't tell. I have my laptop and phone sitting on top of the washing machine with, like, laundry drying behind me. It's great.
God only knows what you're going to be wearing by the time the stream's over.
Okay, no, you did make a really good point though about the reliability, and that is like I said before, even with copy machines and paper printers, the reliability isn't that great. But anytime that you have something that's, it's easy, relatively speaking, for the layperson to fix a paper jam. It's relatively simple. You pull the door off, or the machine's smart enough to help feed the paper out. Maybe you rip it in 10 pieces, but you eventually get the paper out. On a 3D printer, you can very easily go down the rabbit hole trying to fix the problem, and especially considering if certain things have to be done hot, that could be a big safety issue. It's like, oh, I have to do an atomic puller. Oh, I have to clean my nozzle off, so I have to heat up the nozzle. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, great. Yeah, I'm burning my fingers off. Or especially with like an E3D Hotend, my only complaint with them is it is a nightmare to change nozzles on the stupid thing.
Yeah.
Because when you unscrew it, the whole thing like falls apart in 10 pieces in your hands, and you're just like, great, now I got this like 300-degree plus piece of metal I have to try and hold on to somehow, and then put a new nozzle back in and not tweak anything. It can be a pain.
Have you watched any of the RC Life vids on YouTube yet?
No.
Those are pretty cool. I actually do subscribe to him. That's a pretty cool channel. King Random says he's been in the rabbit hole for a week now. I think we all have been.
That's why I'm going a bit nutso on stream right now. Keith Developer says companies need to quit cloning so much and be more innovative. Yeah, I would 1,000% agree on that. I'm not saying that cloning a known mechanism is necessarily a bad thing just because we know what works. But when it comes to the electronics and everything else, I agree. It gets really frustrating when it seems like all you do is you look around and it's like everybody's cloning the clone of the clone of the clone of the clone of the clone. And like I've said in previous streams, it's kind of like when they make a clone, it's kind of like inbreeding. It gets progressively worse. And, I know, Jimmy. I know. Here I go again with the horrible.
There's an extra toe. Here's an extra finger.
One of them gets an extra finger. One of them has 3 eyeballs. One of them's missing a stomach. It's like that with the printers. It's like nobody clones the good stuff. They just clone the crappy stuff. And then all of a sudden you get this like box of parts that's just like all the random garbage that they had lying around at some factory that they put for sale for like $5, and some startup goes, hey, yeah, we'll just pick all that up, not realizing it's a pile of pretty much waste material, tries to build a machine. Oh, thanks a lot, Repcord.
Repcord says, inbreeding gets worse and worse, says the hick in the straw hat. Y'all!
And remind me why people tune into this show again?
to watch you put the clock around your neck and
wear the straw hat. Okay, if you guys want to know the backstory behind the straw hat, here it is in a nutshell. Back when I used to work in Milpitas, I used to ride the train. I will not say which railroad company, home a lot. And I knew some of the
he
crews.
did say Milpitas, not... Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say what we used to call it at work, plus other things on camera.
We all call it that.
Yeah, I know.
Just like Tres Pinos, we don't call it Tres Pinos.
Yeah, I know. So in short, we're riding the train and we pull into an undisclosed location, because I'm not going to say the location so I don't give away which railroad company it is. I don't want to get people that I know potentially in trouble. But what happens is there's this startup company that got bought out by Google for a whole bunch of money, and all these people come on with like there's like a big old party going on. The place is literally like across the street from the train station. So there's like a whole bunch of people on the platform, and my driver buddy like sticks his head out the window. He's like, "Yeah!" to everybody on the platform, and everybody's like totally wasted. They're all like, "Woo!" And one of them has on the party hat. So he radios down to one of the conductors. He's like, "Hey, hey, can I get a party hat?" And it's like not working as they're getting on. He's like, "Can I get a party hat?" Like he knows that the people getting on the train can hear him on the radio. Like everybody else in the network can as well, but he just doesn't care at this point. And then the train's like rolling along. And he's like, "Can one of you guys get me a party hat?" And then eventually one of them gets off, and one of the conductors is like, "Yeah, our engineer's dying for a party hat." And one of the girls is like, "Oh, he can have it." So then one of the conductors comes walking up with the hats, and he's all like, "Oh man, I got my party hat on." Turns out there were two of them. So I got one of them. And that's the backstory behind the party hat. Then I had to wear the thing home on the subway. And I'm thinking to myself, man, people must think I had a lit night or something like that.
We see we got Curtis in the house. How you doing, Curtis?
What's up, Curtis? So yeah, that's the backstory behind the party hat. And I forgot that I wore it in one episode. And my sister thought it was hilarious, and I forgot I had it. But yeah, that's the backstory behind the party hat. So no, I didn't do some hick party thing, and that's how I got the party hat.
I know
just happened to
someone's
be in
the
the right.
one that said squirrel this time.
I can tell you how Les Stroud cooks his squirrel. It's burning.
You come by it too naturally, man.
I am like absolutely toasted tonight, so and I don't mean drug wise, I mean mentally. So I'm just like laugh a second.
Now, honestly, on what I'm seeing more and more from the hobby 3D printing world is it's that big push to the bottom. They want to make the cheapest printer no matter what, just so they can beat that $100 mark. They want to be the first one under $100 and forget everything else. Just get that price down, and that's until they get to the point where they can bring the innovation in and keep the price kind of at a reasonable price, but don't just try to undercut everybody by cutting out all the safety and reliability. That's what's got to be fixed.
Yeah, I mean it's like you look at the printer bot smalls, and I kind of look at that as you could probably save some money if you got rid of the inductive bed leveling, and you could probably save some money if you made more of the parts out of plastic or things like that. But at the same time, for what the machine costs, I mean, as a kit especially, that I kind of look at as being the standard for a quote good low cost 3D printer. It's got good quality components, it's rugged, it's well made, and it's done by a company that has a good track record. And that's the other thing. Is a lot of these companies that are trying to make ridiculously cheap machines know the only way that they're going to get any attention in the market is by making the world's cheapest machine, but it's not exactly very smart. It's like instead of trying to make what is existing better and by creating more competition, it drives the price down, everybody's just trying to pretty much do like what the railroads used to do in the olden days when they drive their prices down so low that they drive the competition out of the market. They were so big that they knew they could do it. And that's how either they bought out or drove out of business the other companies. And, it's like, it's, I don't know. It's just frustrating in my standpoint because instead of trying to innovate, we've just tried to find out how crappy we can build things. And I'm like, this isn't the way it should be.
Yeah, that's exactly what people are starting to consider innovation at this point. Is it's like, okay, who can make it cheaper? And that's not innovation.
No, that's cost cutting, and I'm not saying that that's a good or a bad thing. I mean, I'm all for making it lower price, but the one thing I will say, and I'm not saying this to necessarily sound like, oh, 3D printing should just be something for the elite people to have, and those who can afford the $1,000 machine should buy it. But I will say this is what I'm fearing is going to happen with 3D printing, and we've already seen it with drones. One thing that I said to a bunch of people is I'm not against people who are responsible owning drones and using them. It's just when they become very accessible, every Tom, Dick, Hoo-yah, no-brain, numbskull can own one and do stupid things with them. And we've seen that happen. And that's my biggest fear with making 3D printing more accessible is every Tom, Dick, Harry, Hoo-yah, idiot, doesn't know anything, you get what I mean, has one, then thinks that they can print everything in the world and then start printing realistic looking weapons, start aiming them at people, and people start thinking it's real. The thing is, it's not that people are going to use it in a proper or a smart manner. They're going to use it in a stupid manner, give it a bad name, and then everybody gets burned. I don't think the FAA would have had drone registration if there weren't so many incidents with people being complete morons with drones that the FAA said, oh my gosh, wow, this is a bigger issue than we thought. We got to try and rein this in.
Well, what brought that all about is whenever there's a forest fire, they want to take a drone and fly it up there where they've got helicopters, they've got the planes that drop the fire retardant and all that. They've got all that up, and they are trying to put a fire out. And here they're flying a stinking drone above it so they can get a photo of the fire. And it's just ridiculous. And that's the reason why they tried to do that. But I mean,
you can't stop stupid.
No, you can't. Well, you can, but it's against the law.
Yeah. No, exactly. And I'm not saying that people, I guess my biggest fear is it's like anything else. There's always going to be those stupid, well, we've already kind of seen this with the defense distributed Mr. Cocky Pants lawyer dudes are like, oh, I can print a gun. I'm a lawyer, I can do that. And it's like in the Netflix documentary, Print the Legend, I think they rightfully roasted the dude. It's not that I didn't think it wasn't an interesting concept and it didn't have its place, but the way that he went about doing it was completely the wrong method, trying to buck the system instead of being like, hey, look, I know what the rules are. I know how to stay on the rules. I'm going to try and stay under the radar until I get it all worked out and I can, do whatever. But no, he had to be all like, oh, I'm just going to put it up on the internet and da da da. And I'm like, you suck. Because instantly it had all the fear mongers in the media running around. Oh my gosh, you can print untraceable 3D printed weapons. Da da da. And it's like, well, you can technically do that anyways. You can buy gun parts and put them together yourself, and it's still technically legal if you're the only person using it, especially in certain states. But, it's just like everybody jumps onto a new technology and flips out about it. It's, it's frustrating.
You can also make a 12 gauge shotgun with a 3/4 inch pipe and some fittings from Home Depot. So
yeah, there's lots of scary and dangerous things that can be made using commonly available items that are widely available. It's just how you use them becomes the issue.
Exactly.
Keep developer on the whole little drone rant that I had. You made a good point. Also, you had idiots like Casey Neistat flying drones irresponsibly. Yeah, my only experience with Casey Neistat videos, and it kind of put me off to them. And I mean, it's not that I personally hate the guy. It's just I'm not into his style of videos. No offense to people who are a fan of that style and stuff. But it's like, I remember watching his video where he was flying in some tropical area, and he's trying to fly the drone next to the boat, and he crashes it. He flies it over his head, which is a big no-no, because then you lose orientation very quickly when you do that. Flies it into the rigging of the boat and dunks like a $2,000 back in the day DJI Phantom, and he's all like, I don't know how that happened. Maybe the boat screwed up the signals. And I think I even commented like, look, it wasn't the boat, it was pilot error. Grow up and admit it. I mean, I wasn't trying to be a troll, but I'm like, look, that's not true. I'm a drone pilot. I have videos. You never fly over your head ever. It's like the most common mistake, and it's an instant way to crash whatever you're flying because you lose orientation instantly. But yeah, mini rant over there.
Mini rant.
Rick, we should ban Home Depot and Lowe's. No. Don't ban Lowe's and Home Depot. Just get smarter people in there. That'd make my life so much easier. especially at Lowe's in San Francisco. Oh, I could rant about that on camera so much. Great store, awful employees.
We're
Most of them
finally
are
getting a
awful.
Lowe's here in Salinas. It's going to be open like next month.
Lowe's, what Home Depot could have been, but never was.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I miss having a Home Depot like 4 miles away from me because they moved to the other across the freeway. But the Lowe's is going in actually a little bit closer. It's about 3.5 miles from me here.
Oh, snap.
That's gonna be
Yeah,
nice.
growing up, Orchard, let's see. Orchard Supply Hardware was about 6 minutes from my parents' house, so that's where we usually went for small stuff for science fair projects. Then Home Depot used to be about 15 minutes from the house, but then they closed that one down. So, geez, we'd have to go like, I think like half an hour to get to one. Yeah. And then Lowe's came in and it was about 12 minutes away. So it was kind of a toss up like, which store were you going to go to, Lowe's or Home Depot or Osh? But then again, I will say, in terms of hardware stores, Home Depot is great if you want to buy large items. Lowe's is decent for medium items, but Osh is the place you go for all the wacky random stuff. Like you need 440 panhead Phillips screws, you go to Osh. They carry it. Home Depot and Lowe's, nope, they don't. Too tiny. And I'm like, the heck?
Anytime I need screws or anything for a 3D printer, I always go to Orchard. They always
Oh
have.
yeah, always. Go figure. I still love the time that I was getting ready. It was before I did the shorty GoPro handle video. I'm outside Osh with my dad filming the intro like, I gotta get supplies. And there's this kid in the front who's like moving shopping carts. He's like, oh, you filming the video? I'm like, yeah, I give him the TO store a shot. He goes, oh, that's awesome. Oh man.
So Curtis says that won't happen, Calvin.
Yeah, I know.
Home Depot should sell beer. Do you realize how many people would put that on a company card?
Well, they sold it at the store. Oh man. Oh, I'm so jealous of you, Rick. I actually have two semi-independent, I think they're like franchises or something like that of Ace Hardware near me. One of them's about a 10-minute walk away, and one of them's about a 20-minute walk away. So at least I'm lucky in that department with little hardware stores nearby, which works good for little stuff. But if I need bigger things, I have to drive like 20, 25 minutes to Osh to get bigger stuff. So, you know,
Ripcord used to work for Osh
that's cool.
for corporate.
Oh gosh, McMaster. Lord knows how much money I've spent on that amazing website. You need titanium plates? Yeah, we got titanium plates. You need a Garrett Ellie? Yeah, we got that. What don't you have? I don't know. We could probably find it.
Yeah, ever since Osh got bought out by Lowe's, they've been closing up some of the locations.
Oh wow.
They closed up the one in Gilroy because they had a Lowe's there. And that's what's got me worried about here is because we have an orchard that's been here for years, since I was a kid. And now they got the Lowe's coming in, so I'm getting kind of worried they're going to probably do something about Orchard.
That would suck.
Yeah,
Although
it
the
would.
irony is you need an orchard to make up for what Lowe's doesn't have.
I know.
I mean, the one thing I will say I find interesting about hardware stores just is if people are as tool illiterate as they seem to be, at least based off of, videos and the way people ask questions and stuff, how the heck are hardware stores still in business if people supposedly can't use a screwdriver and um, other stuff?
Chris, Gilroy, yes, garlic mash, FTW.
My only experience with Gilroy is I blast through there on my way back to SF.
You get to smell the garlic when you drive through, right?
Oh yeah, 101 blasting through there. You know you've hit Gilroy when you pass like 30 million places advertising garlic, cherries, and garlic and cherries and garlic and cherries and avocados and cherries and avocados and cherries and garlic.
You're forgetting the garlic ice cream.
Well, that falls into the garlic category.
Rick says Commodore 64 rules. It's been a while.
Ripcord says they apparently don't have Nomex. Which store? Which place? I know McMaster, I think, sells Nomex or something similar. I think the technical name of it is Aramid.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Black Bear Diner in Gilroy is the bomb. I love that place. And the one in Monterey is really good too.
I have never been there.
Really?
Really?
Oh man, you've got to get yourself, was it a bear paw chicken fried steak? Those things are huge.
You see how little I eat in one sitting. That'd probably be like 5 meals.
It probably would be, because I kid you not, the platters, I believe I'm not exactly sure. I want to say they're 16-inch platters, and the chicken fried steak takes up most of it.
Wow. Rick, what? Anyone else use a screwdriver as a hammer? I thought that's what they were used for. Me, pleading the fifth.
You'd be surprised what I do with my tools.
Same here. There are lots of things that I don't show me doing with tools on camera. Just because, you know, if you guys actually in the Shorty GoPro handle video, if you guys look really closely when I go to put the brass inserts in, you see me almost do something with a screwdriver that I wasn't going to show on camera, and then I like cut out of it really quickly. So if you guys look, there's that in there, you know.
Curtis says, Godfather Potato. I've got to take you down there sometime. Next time you're down this direction, let me know and we'll go past there.
Isn't that place that has like that giant
the giant baked
thingy?
Potato? I kid you not. It goes from your wrist to your elbow, to your entire forearm. That is huge. It's at Nana's Barbecue down in Chular.
Dang.
You thought that wet burrito was big. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh god.
Imagine that right there as being a baked potato.
What kind of mutant baked potato is that?
But what he does, he takes it and he'll spoon it, you know, get it all loosened up in the skin.
Uh-huh.
He puts butter, he takes cheese and puts in there, and then he takes, I believe it's onions and jalapenos, and you can order it with brisket or with I usually get it with tri-tip, and sour cream, bacon bits, the whole shop. I mean, when he gets done, the thing is just covered. I mean, they are just awesome.
I'm not a big sour cream guy, but the rest of it sounds pretty good.
Oh, I love sour cream. The more sour cream I eat, the hotter stuff I can eat. It kind of pads it.
Rick, does the defibrillator come with the baked potato? No, but at one point in my life, I was authorized to use one. I had training on it.
Ripcord's out. Have a good night, Ripcord. Thank you for joining.
Later, Ripcord. So, let me see. Chris just posted a link to Layer 1 Atom 3D combines SLA and FDM 3D printing technology in one machine. Huh. That is... Huh? That's interesting.
What's that?
It almost looks like it's a 2-in-1 machine. Like it can do both FDM and then you can switch the head out and it can do SLA printing. That is interesting if that's really the case.
Uh-oh. You just said SLA. You just piqued his interest.
Leading the fifth.
Calvin has a SLA fetish.
No. It's just I like to be able to make nice prints in at home. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, the Ultimaker 2 is great for bigger stuff. It's just for the little things that I'm doing right now. Nothing against sending them out. It's just, like I've said, it's the time frame. It takes about a week to get everything in, week to week and a half, calendar days wise to do it. It just gets kind of tiring after a while waiting for things to come in. You know you could crank out at home, but whatever.
You know you want to crank one out.
You know how bad I want a resin printer.
He's looking at those Robo 3D. Was it Robo?
No, I was looking
no.
at the Wanhao D7.
That's what it was. Yeah, he loves that thing.
I'm still 50-50 on it. I'll put it this way. If I can make enough money selling my little 3D prints to buy one of those, I would consider it. But like I've said, I don't want to just jump right into it because I don't know what the lifespan of it's going to be, how, all that stuff. I know there's the Moai and the other stuff, but like I've said, I want a DLP over a SLA just because DLP has less moving components. Less moving components equals less things to go wrong, and the print time, like I've said, stays consistent versus an SLA where it's got to trace the design out, and then you have potential errors and whatever. You've heard me say it all before, so I'm not going to repeat it again.
Rick says he wants a printer that's FDM, SLA, and buttermilk biscuit maker. I'll take the buttermilk biscuit maker. I miss those.
Things in an era before my time. Although it would be actually hilarious to try cooking food on a 3D printer if you could get the heated bed to go hot enough.
I actually thought about that.
That would be funny.
I could see somebody taking some pancake batter. Take an egg.
Oh, gosh. I actually do have... Where is it? Oh, yeah, here it is.
What's that back there on that shelf, Calvin?
Yeah, I'm alive.
No, what's that glass stuff behind you there?
Oh. That's called a window, Jimmy.
Yeah, but I mean that glass thing that's got the different gradients to it. What in the world is that?
Time for garage tour with ADD Jimmy. You mean...
Okay, good.
This?
It's a bottle. Thank goodness.
It's a bunch of bottles and cobwebs and crap. It's secretly my cold fusion reactor.
From here, it looked like something else.
No, it is not. Whatever that was. What I was saying was I do have an 8x8 heated bed that I picked up as like part of a bundle of stuff somewhere for like dirt cheap. It's a PCB heated bed, R1 dual power, rep wrap, whatever-ish thing. It can do either 12 or 24 volts. But if we ever wanted to try cooking on a 3D printer, here you go.
That'll do the trick.
Yeah, and we're not. I mean, this is what I've actually thought about doing, using for the portable printer if I ever get around to that. But as I kind of said, on the heated bed, we'll see.
Yeah.
I haven't even touched that thing in who knows how long, so it's kind of on hold at the moment. Chris goes, pros and cons to both laser and DLP. Yeah, definitely. Although I will say the fact that DLP is more solid state is the main reason why I'm more of a fan of it personally, but, it is what it is. There is no magic bullet. Dare I ask what you mean by the exploding bed design?
What's that?
Oh, Chris says that he scrambled eggs on his G-Max bed, and he says it was like The Rev 1, the original exploding bed design. Oh, night, Keith. Have a good one.
Have a good one, Keith. Thank you for joining.
Curious what that means. That just sounds epically bad, though.
That does. Tell us about the exploding bed.
Sorry. Oh, you mean the heated bed thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cool. If it explodes, maybe we should use this as the fire source for the video. No, I'm just kidding. I have actually thought what I'm probably going to do is get like some really cheap PCB material. I should probably do that soon. Some really cheap PCB material off of eBay or something like that, and just cut a fake um, PCB into it. Like just cut kind of zigzag into it to create traces. Then stick the thing up against like a inside of like a little ABS chamber, so we know it's going to ignite, and then just set it off like that, so it simulates a board fire pretty easily while being still realistic. So it's not like we drench the machine out in gasoline and go, oh look, it caught on fire somehow. Whoa, you know.
Can't wait to see that fireball in action, though.
Same here.
Then there's going to be Calvin's fire killer.
I told you that I got the sprinklers in a long time ago, right?
Yeah, and I got the
Yeah.
flex line, and I got the propane tank out here. I just need to do a little something to it so that it'll be more, I don't know, so it'll look better.
You need to put like in graffiti letters like C Dub and make it with Calvin, and if you get Curtis to make like a sweet rap for it or something like that. So it doesn't look like a repurposed propane tank. No, really, people, this is not a repurposed propane tank. This is the C Dub Fire Killer 5000. Oh man, I'm seriously like I cannot wait to try our crazy ideas out, but I still need to. Maybe I'll just buy myself some Nomex for my birthday so I can make like little fire shields for the cameras, so when we go to do it, we don't nuke them. Like little zip up pouches for the camera, practically like, okay, camera goes inside, zip it up. Okay, let's go cook a camera.
Curtis says at least wrap it in a full color.
We should make it like bright yellow or bright orange, so it's like a nice visible safety color.
I was going to paint it red.
That works.
And then go take a spray paint with a stencil, C-Dub's fire killer.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
Chris called it. He says C-Dub needs sleep.
Sleep? What's that? I actually slept for like an hour and a half before the stream, and I'm like, oh man, I'm tired. Conk. I am toasted.
Well, you want to go ahead and call it?
Yeah, we should probably call it. I'm burnt out. You're probably pretty tired too.
Yeah, I still got about 2 hours of editing to do. Try to get a video out for tomorrow.
Oh boy.
And then on top of that, I gotta go take out the trash real quick before I do that.
That shouldn't take 2 hours though, right?
No. It's
Okay,
only
good.
about 20 minutes.
Oh, it's not too bad. Chris had a good point. Just use canvas, borax, and boric acid to make your own fire retardant sheets. Yeah, but that doesn't sound as good as I'm using Nomex. You know, come on. Nomex sounds better on camera.
You just want to say it.
I have a Nomex hood. I have a Nomex suit. I'm ready to go play with fire.
I got a Nomex this. I got a Nomex that. And we're going to set off a titanium fire.
Don't worry. I will try and make up some titanium shavings for the epic finale when we shoot our spoof of Unpimp Your Car with Unpimp Your Printer, and then like a bunch of titanium goes off or something like that. Oh man.
Chris says it would be better if you did a video on how to use those chemicals.
Yeah, but you know, it's more fun to just, buy the fabric and do it that way. Or I could use hydromethyl phosphodium chloride, also known as a THPC. I could use that to fireproof my cotton fabric.
There you go.
I just need to somehow find a way to get my hands on some. That's the chemical retardant that they use in like the green shirts that welders and stuff wear. So it pretty much makes the fabric char. It does not allow it to burn. It's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And they treat it with ammonia so that way it actually binds to the fabric and it doesn't wash out. I mean, it will wash out over time, but it doesn't just like all go away in one shot, which is not a good thing.
So would a water jet and magnesium shavings be a flamethrower?
It could be a bad idea.
Could always do it with sodium.
Potassium would be more fun.
Yeah, what?
Come on, let's face it. So, Chris,
Well,
do you want
let's
to
go
team
ahead
up
and call it, my friend.
All right. Sounds good. We're out.
Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for joining in the chat. And are we going to do this on Tuesday next week, or are we going to start switching over to Thursdays now?
We could do Tuesdays at 10 because I dropped my math class that gets out really late. It just wasn't working. So, yeah, I mean, if we can do Tuesdays at 10, that works for me.
Okay. So we'll get with Ripcord and get things squared away on the schedule.
Sounds good.
Cool.
I'll be honest, I like their time because it gives me more time to, well, it means we're not up so late,
Rick's out. Have a good night, Rick.
Later, Rick.
Okay, guys, have a good night. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Have a good one.